Welcome to another episode where I interview friends and guests on men's health, self-development, and just everybody's journey. Men in their mid to late 30s, early 40s. So that's what today's topic is about. It's going to be starting over in your late 30s and what's that like as an expat as well too. Yeah, so this is my friend Brian.
Just let you know, we might not be too serious because we were just cracking up before this. My name is Michael. I have a very small YouTube channel as well, but I live in Vietnam. I got a wonderful girlfriend I've been dating for a couple years. I lived in Da Nang for a bit, but we were doing long distance, my girlfriend and I, and so I moved into Saigon. And then I get to hang out with Dustin, who is one of the coolest people on the planet, but you already know that.
Do you know that? Bit. But I want to kind of bring me back to that time where you mentioned you had to start all over again during COVID. What happened with your career, relationship, if anything, in your situation that if you can share from your experience, and then what type of growth you learned from it and where you're at now.
COVID was, I think, hard for a lot of us. It was very hard for me. I have a business that I've had for 8 years. It's a marketing company. And during COVID, nobody wanted to spend money on marketing. So my revenue went to essentially zero.
Wow.
I had roommates at the time. I was living in Denver, Colorado. But I started to get depressed. Like, money wasn't coming in. Everything I've been working towards for my whole life was just gone. So I decided I was going to go back to New Orleans, where I'm from, and just live with my mom. And I told her, I was like, just 2 weeks, I'm going to live with you. I promise either my business will come back or I'll get a job.
2 weeks.
That's what I told her. Wow. But I was there for a year and a half.
She's your mom. She knows you bullshit.
It was way too long of a time. You know, I thought at first it would be quick. I also didn't know how long COVID was going to last.
Right.
I went through probably my biggest dilemma was like, should I get a job at Starbucks? Maybe I could just make a couple dollars and then I can continue working my company. But I'm glad I didn't. Since I've had my company, I've not done any other work since. That's been 8 years.
So you've been just committed 100%. Like, you never look back. There was no uncertainty. You're like, this is it. This has to work.
No, there's uncertainty all the time. Like, thinking about working at Starbucks is uncertainty, right?
Oh,
like,
man, you're right. You're right.
know?
Everybody's getting laid off back home. That's what the headlines are saying. I try not to listen to that. It's too negative.
Yeah. And then, like, everyone that had, everyone's a realtor or something, they're also driving for Uber back in the States.
Wow.
And so I was like, well, I could drive for Uber, but I had a 2-door car. I had a sports car. So I don't think the app actually allowed you to do it if you had
I actually never seen that either. I don't think it is allowed.
So it wasn't an option for me. I probably would have done that.
What'd you have? What kind of car was that?
I had a Dodge Challenger.
Oh, damn. Okay.
It was nice. I mean, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Actually, when I left the country, I sold that car. And that was a little bit of like a nest egg that gave me some safety. But when I went out. But anyway, that time on my mom's sofa was tough. And over a long period of time and mental adjustments that didn't really come easily, I left the States. And no, I've not looked back. I want to live out of the States for the rest of my life. It is so much better.
Wow. What made you want to leave America? Like, what was the push? Because you didn't go straight to Vietnam from America, or did you?
No, I didn't.
So, like, what was that push just making you go?
I wasn't really happy in New Orleans. I was in an environment that wasn't that safe. Kind of some toxic surroundings that just didn't feel good. Not my mom. I love my mom and I'm a mama's boy. So aside from my mom, there's just some other stuff.
You're a mama's boy too, eh?
Yeah. I loved more time with my mom. That was wonderful. But there were other things in New Orleans that I didn't like. So I kept thinking, I have to leave here. I liked Denver for a while. I was there for 5 years before I went back to New Orleans. But then it ended up dying down. So I was like, I got to go somewhere else. I don't know where in the States I'm going to go. And so I actually ended up through certain circumstances, because I was in New York at one time. I traveled to New York. A hurricane hit New Orleans and I couldn't go back home. So then I decided to travel through the States. So then I just traveled. Yeah, I traveled from New Jersey all the way to California just by taking buses and trains. I just wanted to try that trip. And then I stayed at different people's houses on sofas. And I was like thinking, where could I want to live here?
Yeah.
I ended up making a longer trip of being like, where in the States would I want to live?
I gotta say, that is some white people shit right there. That is some white people shit. Just like couch surfing like that. Okay, yeah, keep going. All right, so.
I was like, nowhere in the States is feeling right. I had one of my clients who's like, you should go to Costa Rica. It's the same time zone. You could still run your company. You should try it. And he kept saying that over and over again. I'm very thankful for that client, because that was probably the motivating factor to go to Costa Rica with just a backpack. I was like, I'll go there for at least 2 months. I didn't book an exit flight. I just booked a flight in. That was my experience out of the country where like I got a meal that was a fresh sandwich with some fresh juice that was $6. And it was like mind blowing, right? It was so good. And I was living on the beach. And that was my first experience of like, wait. Why no, this feels way better than any other state I've been traveling to and visiting. And then when I went back to the States, after that 2-month trip, I sold everything and was like, now I'm going to venture out and find where I want to be.
So where was that next place? Did you stay in South America for a little while?
I joined a travel group called Remote Year.
Okay.
Honestly, it was like a drama TV show. Tons of drama.
Was there a lot of dating, a lot of hooking up going on?
Oh, yeah, all kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff. So it wasn't really for me, but the group is travel to a country for 1 month. They book the accommodations, they book all the stuff. So you stay for a month in one apartment with roommates, and then you move to another country and you stay for a month, and then another country and stay for a month. So I did that for a few months.
With the same group?
With the same group.
What if you don't like get along with that group? You're stuck with them?
You can, yeah.
That's terrible.
But you can have like different roommates. They'll put you with different people.
Okay.
I kind of got along with everyone, so they would just put me with, the people that whatever, because other people weren't getting along. But then I was like, why? This is way too much drama and people were talking about it too much. So eventually I left the group, but it did Latin America, a little bit of Europe. A lot of Americans like so excited about Europe. They love Europe.
Yeah.
I never cared about it. I always wanted to come to Asia. So when I left the group, that's when I came to Vietnam.
That's your first time in Asia?
Yeah, for sure.
What was like your community like? What was your love life or relationship at that time like? Or was it non-existent?
So that's a great question. I had this thought in my head of I want to find a place where I want to live, because I was doing that already when I was traveling around the States.
Yeah.
Additionally, I want to understand the mindset of the women in that country, their values, their characteristics, so I can decide if that's the kind of woman I want to be with. This country has the type of mindset and women and values that I want to be with.
What type of women back home did you not agree on similar values with? Or at least what you want or hope to see when you move to, let's say, Asia at that time?
It's such a good question, but sometimes you are a little bit blind or ignorant to things. Like sometimes you feel like a place might not be right for you or a relationship might not be right for you, but you can't tell why. And so I can look back at it now and tell you, but I couldn't tell at the time. I just blind. I didn't know any better.
Or what was that you didn't know any better about?
Being in relationships that weren't suitable for me, like weren't optimal. And so the comparison is, being over here, the family values, especially Vietnam, I think has the best family values in the world. Just seeing how the women will treat the men and like how the relationship should be really genuinely caring for each other. That's just so much more impactful than at least my experiences in the States.
Can you give me like a real life example of what that looks like? If
I was getting some experiences like my first friend that I made on this side of the world, she was not someone I met initially for dating or anything, but we were good friends. And I got to meet her family and just see how her family interacts with each other. And I just admired that. In fact, in some other countries in Asia, I got to see how people interact with their family. And I really admired that, which is not the case in America. Like
wait, so you think people in America don't value like family as much?
At least maybe white families, like a lot of white families, like
white families don't?
Yeah, they're very individualistic. You turn 18, you leave the house.
That's true.
You don't live with your family, you don't stay with your family. So the connection with family like really disperses.
And then if you're old, you're thrown into the retirement home and that's it.
That's very, very, white American at least. I don't know if Asian American families are doing that.
I think we're slowly trying to adapt to it, but then our parents are still like fighting back. Like, it's like why are you guys all leaving? Like you're spending more money paying double the rent for what? Like just stay in one unit. And it's like, well, we want freedom, but like you have freedom at home. I don't know. It's what all my white friends are doing. So I want to do the same. Yeah, I'm guilty of that and wanting to move out like ASAP. I had the opportunity when I was like 20 something and I did it. And I was like, so this is it? I'm just like a room by myself and like I gotta buy my own groceries and everything. Like I think I had like the freedom of inviting friends over all the time and just being loud and really young, right? That's the freedom. Like my mom allowed it, but then at the same time, out of respect, I wouldn't want to do that all the time. Versus if it's my own place, like, yeah, let's do that,
Yeah.
And I think in Vietnam, they don't move out. Like people will raise their families here. And I notice like a lot of people go out for coffee or for work because they want that space.
Oh yeah,
right? Because like their house is like, could be small and you're like just on top of each other and you're like, I have no privacy. And the parents are like, it's my house. You're under my roof. Why do you need privacy, right? I can see why like all these coffee shops are filled up with people because it's just like they need that space for themselves. Even if it's just to play video games or whatever.
Yeah, there's so many people at coffee shops or even like GS25 lifestyle platform, like playing a game on their laptop. So that is a question I'm genuinely interested in.
What's that?
For your grandparents, for example, if they were to go to a nursing home, they've never seen that in their life. For them to send another family member there, so
No, man, my auntie, her like last 10 years or more or whatever, it was just devoted to taking care of my grandparents. Like every day, she'll come over to the house to take care of them. It was the strangest thing, but when my grandfather passed, he was on his bed, and they video called me and all of my cousins and everything, and they just watched him die slowly on the bed. And he was like foaming out of his mouth and stuff. And I'm like, why are you guys not going to the hospital? They're like, oh no, like this is just like the way of like Buddhism and like how we do in Vietnam, because they would just be like, you just go home and he just dies at home. It just looked really painful and sad to watch, you know? I didn't know how to react, but they were kind of just like doing like a Buddhist chant around him, and we just all kind of said our goodbyes that way. It was a really different thing that I'm used to from like American culture of like, you'll probably die in the hospital bed, right? But now you die at home on your own bed.
It's very interesting because I'm thinking about the majority of Americans that are in retirement home are dying alone in a room.
They probably die faster. I'm not saying I disagree with how it went down. It was just new to me. I didn't know how to react. I remember I was sitting in my car just grabbing like dinner. My auntie was calling me. She's like, "Hey, your grandfather's gonna pass. Can you want to say any last words?" I'm like, "What? Like, bring him to the hospital?" And they're like, "No. Like, we don't do that. This is how it's gonna go down. Like, say your piece. I need to call your siblings next." I'm like, "What?" It was so strange. And they just threw us all onto the call and we just watched him. At least for Vietnamese, there is like no retirement home. You stay with your kids. So I don't know if you can live in the same house or you have the house next door or back house, whatever, but like they got to be within like your space so you can take care of them.
Do you think it's meaningful for that person to be surrounded by family instead of, in a home or in another environment?
Yeah, I think so. But it's hard. Like let's say like your family has their own kids and their own like in-laws or whatever, right? It's like you don't want to be a burden if you're like that grandparent, but at the same time you're lonely. So then what do you do? Our friend Dawn's grandma just passed away recently, and she's been living until 103 years old. They just kept asking, "How do you feel?" And she's like, "I just want to go." Like because she's like, everyone's like, because you guys are all here visiting me because I'm about to go, but when this isn't going on, I'm by myself. Everybody has their own life. And I was like, damn, that's real, because that is so lonely. Like her husband already left, or he passed away. 103, all your kids they're busy. They don't all live in the same village either. They just come down once in a while for like gatherings and holidays. But she's like, I just want to go. Like this is boring and sad at the same time. And she was living at the house. She wasn't in like a retirement home or anything.
That's an interesting thought, because you would imagine people might want to live forever or like, extend their life.
I think that's how we think, because we're still trying to grow and like see more of the world and do more things with our potential. But once they've kind of done all that, they've come to acceptance, they become more religious, more spiritual, and just like being ready to go to the next level or whatever they believe in. I'm not there yet. I still want to do a lot more of my life, even though technically we're like midlife crisis, right? Is what they say. It's like, because you die at like, the stats right now is like 76 for men in America.
Oh, for when we might die. So we're in the middle of
life expectancy. Yeah, so we're like midlife. I wouldn't say it's crisis, but it's definitely midlife.
Well, we're both like questioning some things and directions and paths we want to go now. So yeah, you and I are having it. It might not just happen once, but yeah, you and I are in this finding out next steps.
Most people go buy Porsches and stuff, right? I don't know. That's like the stereotype.
It's gonna fix everything in life if I buy this nice car.
Man, I have a motorbike and I love it.
Yeah, me too.
I sold my car, kind of like you. That was like a little nest egg too, and I don't know how long that lasted, but it was nice to just have that. And then I have my motorbike. It's so freeing. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Just driving your motorbike and having the wind hit your toes when you're wearing sandals. I feel so free.
Yeah.
I'm just like, woo.
All right, so how are your feelings about driving in Saigon on your motorbike?
I don't do it anymore. When I first moved here 3 years ago, I had to, because I was living in the heart of District 1 downtown. That's where I actually learned how to drive. It's so scary, because you're like constantly defensive driving. You're just going to assume that everybody's going to hit you and you're like, just accept it. You're not going that fast, but they're kind of just going in all directions. And you can't get upset with anybody, because that's just how it is. Back home, we have road rage and it ruins your whole day. How dare you? You disrespected me. You cut me off. Here it's like, yo, I'm coming through. I'm gonna honk twice. That means I'm late. Like just get out of my way. Or I'm turning like a blind corner in the alley. Like you better not be there, or just you slow down because I'm coming. It's more like a safety thing versus like me kind of thing, which is nice when you see it that perspective. It's like people are just need to go somewhere, and they're letting you know that they're coming for your safety and their safety.
Yeah, and everyone's rushing. I did a 30-minute drive on the way here, and some areas are a little condensed with traffic. And like, I'm not in a rush to get over here. Like, I got time. But
Yeah.
just seeing the amount of people that it seems like they're in a rush is like, I'm just getting cut off constantly. And it's like, well, if I really, really cared and I was in a rush, I probably would be annoyed. But since I'm not, I could just keep driving.
Yeah.
But that being said, I hate traffic.
Oh, nobody loves traffic, especially you're breathing all those fumes
Yeah,
outside. If you can go back to your younger self and remember that first heartbreak, what would you tell him? Like, what have you learned along your journey?
I don't know. I have no clue. Like, I feel that at that time, I didn't understand that you could find a woman that would be nurturing or kind. I thought relationships had to be constant arguments and tension because that's what my first one was. Like, a lot of people's first relationship isn't that good. Some are great. Like, I wasn't that fortunate. I would try to assure my younger self that you can find support. You can find someone who cares for you and will not yell at you and argue with you. And if you need to hang out with a friend, they won't call you names or be mean to you because you want to go do something. They will support you and allow you to be your truest self. I hope that I could provide that to my younger self.
What other advice would you give to your younger self?
My younger self wasn't too concerned. Like, some people are really concerned when they're young. I think most of my concerns came in at an older age. I think if my younger self would talk to my older self now, he would say, why are you being so serious about some stuff? Life is just fun. Everything's fun. Why don't you just do all the fun stuff and then occasionally do the stuff you need to do?
Wow.
That's what he would say.
There's a good shift in that question there. It's like your younger version is now asking you the question. I think for me, it would be women will love you with condition, not unconditional.
Wait, this is your older self telling your younger?
This is me telling my younger self that the advice would be is that women will only love you with condition. The only woman in your life that will love you unconditionally is your mom. I think, and that only just means that like you should not lose yourself, your goals, your mission, and that's what I'm trying to get at is that like you can love each other, one another, but you don't lose focus of yourself because once you start to do that, then your women will start to kind of lose that attraction for you too. It's like I want you to continue your mission as a man, but because you're given too much of your effort and your time for me that I'm now starting to like lose attraction for you or whatever. That's just one small example.
Yeah, you're saying it like you've had the experience. So
yeah.
Tell me about that experience.
No, I'm just kidding.
You're like, oh, it's every single time.
It really is. I haven't learned my lesson at all. I don't know. I think I just like I fall into like the trap of like listening to what the girl says. It's like, oh, this is what I want from you, but then her actions will say otherwise. It's like I say that, but I actually didn't want you to do this and that. And I'm like, but wait, I'm confused now because I'm like very logical. You just tell me this is what you prefer, this is what you like. And then I think if I give up certain things or sacrifices that it will make you happy.
Can you give me an example? Like, if you do this, then
A small example would be like, hey, come hang out with me. Don't hang out with your boys or skip the gym or like,
oh my God,
do work later. Yeah, I did that like many times over and over, thinking that like I would nurture this relationship with this woman. If she's happy, then I'm happy. It's also like the trying to be a hero complex of like, she's not feeling emotionally happy about something. Let me go help her and put my things to the side where like I'm constantly falling behind and it just compounds worse for me. And another person's like, oh, okay, thanks for the pep talk. I'm better now. You can leave. That takes an emotional toll on me as well, like trying to monitor somebody else versus like letting go of all my goals and stuff like that. I think that's what people say is like you need to set your boundaries. I couldn't do that. I didn't know how. I didn't know how to communicate like what my boundaries were. And each time like I'll get frustrated or like angry, that just meant like my boundaries were crossed. And now I'm understanding that. I'm like, oh, that's what it was. It's not because I have like a temper or whatever. It was like I was upset because my boundaries were crossed and I just let it happen.
I realize, and maybe you've seen this, that in some relationships, it's almost that you have to be more clear on your boundaries because I think, and this is just, you can say what your thoughts are, because they're breaking them more often. Like some people, if you have your boundaries aren't so steady because some people they might not need to be so strict with, but some people might really be breaking them, but it might be constantly, or it might be too much. Maybe that person's not right for us, but they're breaking these potential boundaries a lot.
Sorry, what was the question? So it's like they're breaking the boundaries, but then it's like
I'm not sure. I'll elaborate on it a little bit and then
Yeah.
you can give your thoughts. But so I don't feel like we have to have super strong boundaries
Mm.
because life isn't black and white, right? And so like if you find someone you really care about and you're like, really in love with them, then maybe some things will hurt more than others. But if you could talk about it, you can work your way through. Then in other relationships I've been in, maybe that hasn't been the case, or maybe the talking isn't good, but I feel that there's things that are going on that either party isn't liking. And maybe it's the communication isn't there, or maybe like we feel that something has to be a certain way, but I think that's in the sense of maybe the boundary. I think other relationships they don't need that many. So I'm not sure if you yourself have been in somewhere it felt much easier, and then others it feels like I really should have set boundaries or they crossed too many lines. Where some relationships maybe it didn't feel like that.
I guess when two people are just very different, you have completely different expectations of one another. Boundaries start to show up more. It's like, whoa, that's a trigger, or that's a trigger. It's like, okay, let's work through this. And if it's constantly just like being crossed all the time, then we're just not compatible. And
Yeah, yeah.
that is, I guess that's the big takeaway that I'm learning now in my late 30s. It's like, stop trying to force something that it's not going to work out, because those boundaries and you getting upset is the indicator of like the relationship is not going to work out. No matter how much you try to fix and solve everything, you're just not compatible. Your values are just not the same. So you just got to take that L, take that lesson, and just move on.
We talked earlier about ignorance or not really seeing something, just not being very aware. Like when you're in the situation, you can't see it as clearly. And so, do you feel like that's also the case? Because I mean, clearly have felt that way when you're in a relationship
Mm.
and you just think that's what it is. You can't actually see that there's something better or that maybe this shouldn't be the case. So you just kind of put up with a lot of stuff that maybe you shouldn't be putting up with. You've had relationships where that haven't been right, but you've stayed in them longer than you should have. Why do you think it was the case that you stayed in those relationships so long?
I would say comfortable, feeling comfortable of like who you've been with for, let's say, a couple of years. There's that. There's the fear of being lonely. Also, the time, money, effort invested that you don't want to throw that away. Maybe at my position at the time where I was like not really confident in myself, that I felt like I wouldn't be able to find another mate potentially.
I think that's why so many people stay in relationships. The
Mm.
fear of being alone and not being able to find someone else. It's so unfortunate. I mean, I've been there myself, but like, yes, that will keep us in a bad relationship.
I guess that summarized the episode.
Yeah, can we talk about the comfortable with a person? Because I think,
Yeah.
if you're in a relationship that's not optimal, maybe it's not the right relationship for you, but
Mm.
you stay in it because you're comfortable. I imagine there's some kind of threshold, kind of like a door frame. There's like a threshold you step over. We can imagine pain tolerance. When we're in this pain, we can see a lot of it as being comfortable. And our imagination of the other side, because it's a threshold to cross the side where we don't know what's on the other side of the door, that sounds and thinks to be uncomfortable,
Sounds
but
worse.
it sounds worse.
Yeah. The
But
fear
it
of the
could
unknown,
be,
much better.
it could literally be the oh my God, there's a
Yeah.
little life over here I didn't know.
I mean, they say that that's your brain protecting you from fear of uncertainty, the unknown. So it doesn't want you to go there because it's built of survival. Your brain is built for survival, not for success. Everybody who's trying to like wanting to be in a better situation, but you don't feel happy right now, it's because you got to go toward that thing that's making you feel scared. As long as it doesn't kill you, you're not gonna die. Just do it. And if you fail, do something else. Do it again. I've always been like somebody who doesn't take risks until like recently, once I moved out of my own,
Oh,
moved out of the city, out of the country. Like, yeah, I was like a very like, nah, let's not do that. Or like, that doesn't sound safe or whatever it is. Now I'm like, I didn't die. It's like that one scene from the Hangover. But did you die?
yeah.
Building resilience by doing more things as far as showing evidence to yourself that you can overcome this, and that's where the confidence comes. But if you don't take the first couple leaps, you're not going to move anywhere. You're going to be in the same scared position that you are.
Let me jump from this topic a little bit, but still in the realm of confidence as you're sharing it.
Okay.
Have you traveled solo before?
Yeah. 3 years ago, that was my first time ever doing that. Just 3 years ago. And that's because I went through a breakup, and I was like, okay, well, I really don't have anything going on that's keeping me down here. Like, I'll just resign and move out, solo backpack to Southeast Asia. And then I called my mom, like, I'm gonna live here. And
Yeah,
so I've been here since. Yeah.
that's like a huge fear, right? For a lot of people, or maybe yourself
It was
included.
super scary because I'm like, how do you navigate through a different country, not knowing the language, where to like do certain things, and also being alone. back home, I could not eat by myself. I was like fear of being judged, like who's this loser like eating McDonald's by
Oh yeah.
himself, right? Like that's like the fear of judgment, something I overcame when I started to backpack by myself. Like the first week, I didn't stay at hostels. I stayed like at a hotel. I'm like, this is so boring. How do you meet people?
Mhm.
And then I started to stay at hostels, and I was like, oh, like people are really chill and friendly. They're from all over the world, and they're so open minded to like just meeting people. Like people were younger than me, and they're like, I felt like an old dude there, but like, oh, it's cool. Like, it's all hang out. I'm like, oh, okay, this world is huge, man. And if we're just stuck in our little bubble back home and scared of traveling, even you're missing out.
So not only did you overcome your fear, but by doing that solo trip, it has changed your life.
Yeah, I'm literally living in a different continent because of that move I made.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when I left California, I told my mom I was like going to the airport, and I was like, I'm gonna move to Asia." And she was like, "You're laughing, but you're probably gonna do it." She like foreshadowed that. She's like a little psychic. I was like, "Yeah, right. Why would I live there?" Like, you know.
I
And
mean, if you're mama's boy, she knows what
she
you're gonna do.
knows, yeah. She's like, yeah, he's gonna find happiness there and in his freedom. It was, I mean, the first year was pretty lonely when I officially moved to Vietnam. Like, I didn't have any like friends. So I was like, my cousin was like my only friend, but then he moved to Florida because he got a job. And I was like, yo, like you showed me everything that Vietnam had to offer. It was amazing, food and everything. But now you're gone. I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna be alone again. It was like it was scary.
Mhm.
He's like, oh, but I'll introduce you to all my friends, and they're really nice, sweet people. But we don't like really have like similar interests in a lot of things because of like the age gap as well too. And then until like I met you guys like 2 years ago, and I'm like, okay, these are my people. You know, these are my people now. We're similar in age and interests and stuff like that, so that helps. Especially at our age now, and living in a foreign country, the loneliness for men is like really high. The stats are super, super high. Just having a community here that we live in, our little bubble here as well, but at least we can call each other up and be like, hey, dude, like, let's get coffee. Let's shoot a podcast today. Easy that way. And it's nice. Like, I think that makes us want to like continue like having purpose each day, like doing something rather than like do a 9 to 5. I'm like, is that what my whole life is about? Like, yes, I get it. Like, if you have bills, you have family to take care of, like, you got to do what you got to do. But as a single man, I'm like, yo, I can do a lot more, and
Oh yeah.
I can take a lot more risks,
yeah.
and I know I have that privilege, so I'm gonna do it. Like, stop being scared of whatever you're doing back home in California. Like, let's go. Let's, you know. And
Mhm.
actually, my younger brother, my middle brother, Vincent, who was the first one in the family to do backpacking solo, and he told me to, you're like, you should totally do it. He's traveled like 30 plus countries, and I was like, how? Aren't you scared? And like people, this and
Mm.
that. He's like,
Mhm.
you're bigger than most people there. You think someone's gonna like try to bully you?
Yes.
I'm like, that's a good point, Vincent. Okay. And then so really scared of anything else. Yeah.
I love that, and I really feel that more people should feel comfortable with solo traveling.
Yeah.
Because some people are almost so scared of it, they like feel like they need to. I'm only gonna go travel somewhere if someone else will go with me. But you restrict yourself from so much.
Yes and no. Like I have recently went to Malaysia by myself, and it was fun for the first few hours. And I got bored because I want to share that experience with somebody. So I made a friend. I just started chatting with people like next to me eating dinner. I do like to share that experience with somebody else, whether it be like a partner or some friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
Most of the time when I chat with people, they do share a similar thing. Like they won't travel somewhere unless they have someone else to go with them. For me, I personally love solo traveling more
Yeah.
than anything else. Like I'll travel with someone. Like sure, I'll do it, but nothing beats traveling by myself. I'm going to Japan by myself. Wednesday, I'm flying out.
Wow.
I love solo traveling. It is
Just
the
like
best.
so what is it about that experience by yourself that you like so much?
It's total freedom to do whatever you want. You're on your schedule, which
Mm,
means
that's a big one.
if you just want to walk, well, my style of traveling is different from a lot of others.
What's that like?
So some people might want to plan and go see all temples and stuff.
Mm.
I don't really enjoy that. I just want to wake up in the morning when I feel like it, walk outside, listen to what the ether is telling me, and walk the directions I
What
need
does
to go.
ether mean?
The realm between the one we live in and what is external from this realm. That's my thought as I'm
Oh.
just sharing it. But essentially, there's something that can tell you what you're feeling. We could just call it a gut feeling.
Okay.
Like you just walk in, like I want to take a right here. Let's listen to that right. Unfortunately, too many times we'll like have like a Google thing or the thing we have to go to, and we have to stick to it. It's just fine if we're going somewhere, but too often we don't give enough room for our gut feeling or the way our mind is telling us to go at that time, our emotions.
Mm.
And so when I travel, I just go with that. And so I just go for 10 days, have a couple little plans, and just like allow myself to experience. When you're with
And get
someone,
lost too.
get lost.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you're with someone else, it's much harder to do that because you have thoughts and mindset that they're doing. And if they don't allow themselves to feel and go, if they need to be structured to be too mindful, because it's less, I believe, like life really happens when you're less mindful in that moment to be present. And so allow yourself to go. So when I go to Japan or when I'm traveling, so I just allow myself to go. I can't experience that when I'm with other people. Also, you mentioned something about sitting down and meeting people.
Yeah.
You can do that when you're with someone or with a group, but it is so much different to like meet other people and stuff. If you're by yourself, that opens up an entire world that you would not experience even with one other person in there. You can try to still communicate with people, but if you're by yourself, the amount of conversations and new friends and interactions you'll have is just completely different.
Right. Like we kind of met indirectly through because you met Don and you guys were both solo traveling, right? Is that the story? And then
I was in line. I was in line to check in the hostel, and he was next to me in line. We chatted.
yeah, he's really good at that. He's very good at making like small talk and just like
Yeah.
he'll do it in Vietnamese too. Just like he'll make like a kind of like a smart ass remark. And sometimes it doesn't fly because people don't get sarcasm here. And his girlfriend will be like, why'd you do that? but it opens more opportunities. Like, you know, if you don't open your mouth, then you're not gonna make those relationships and connections. Just putting yourself out there and taking more chance and risk and just meeting more people. Yeah, life is short. We're all gonna die eventually. So don't be scared. Do shit that's gonna make you scared, but just do it anyways. You want to close out this podcast?
Sure.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. It was kind of on the fly a little bit. We had a little outline, but I don't know. We just kind of just freestyle it. I mean, we're just whatever. We'll chop this up somehow. Thank you, Michael or Brian. What's your name again?
Michael.
You look like a Brian.
I joked before the video. But thank you so much, Justin, for having me on your channel and on your podcast. And obviously, I love these conversations with you. And we have them off camera all the time. So thanks for having me on camera.
Yeah, absolutely. These are typical conversations that we would have, you know. But I find that sometimes, like, let's say the viewer, like I've read some comments where like, hey, thank you for having that conversation with you and your friend. Like, I felt like I was alone experiencing these things. But hearing you guys go through it, and you guys are much older than me, I realized that it's not too late for me. And I was like, whoa. And that's pretty cool. Like, even if it's just one person that like listened to the entire conversation and they feel like they can connect and don't feel alone, that there's other guys out there going through the same thing, thinking about the same shit and same experiences, that feeling less alone, especially as men.
That's really cool. Someone on my channel would just comment, oh, that was really cool. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, it's cool. All right, cool. Glad they thought it was cool. My life is good. But no, you're genuinely helping people out. I can tell that you're helping people out. Also, you ran like a fitness event here, and I can just tell people care and people want to improve, and you want to be there for them. So it's great that you're doing that.
Yeah, I mean, selfishly too, it's helping me like have a purpose. So I feel good about like waking up each day and doing something to help other people. Makes me happy. So
awesome.
Yeah. Handshake? We don't ever handshake. That's weird. Okay. Bye.
All right. Well, that was a great experience. I'm glad we got to share that.
That's true. I think we need to do an intro. That's what technically we're supposed to be doing for podcasts, right? So this is I haven't even called my podcast a title yet. What was that?
I thought you were trying to remember my name, like you like blinked. This is
oh
Brian.
No. I was thinking of like what I want to title my YouTube podcast.
Like the episode or the whole series?
Both. I don't think I have anything. Fuck it. This is my podcast where I talk about men's health, where I talk about men's health and stuff. All right.